discount today.
Yeah,
And I believe I was just informed this today, that they said we put a new motor in that in the last year.
Well, we say schedule that for repairs, guys. Schedule it.
And then, obviously the other is the vehicle purchases, but I also have another request, it's building security. As we talked about installing the CCTV cameras, outside the building along also Sean's area in front of the garages. We have received, now 4, the previous one was our installation and I didn't think it mattered. Officer Mackey found it online, it really didn't meet our specifications, so we reached out to Vector Security. Joel Davis, who is also our IT person, who also has a security installation business, and Hound Alarm. Vector Security's price for the cameras were $8,420. Originally, that was $9,400, but they gave us a discount to $8,420. Hound Alarm was next at $4,885, and Mr. Davis gave us a quote, the exact same hardware, and he agreed to maintain that equipment for us at $3,850.
How many cameras are there?
What's that?
How many cameras?
7.
7 cams.
Those quotes are in your packet also. There'll be 4 outside, 3 inside. Also with that comes listening. One of the cameras will have a listening device inside the interview room, monitors, and the junction box. That's what comes completely wired also.
Yeah, we talked about, with the surveillance on this here, including the,
Cemetery?
305 the 305 entrance to the cemetery and the 45 entrance.
Yes.
Might as well just have one brain, control everything and one database collection.
I was, not to interrupt you, but I was told that it's impossible. Vector told us, and so did Joel explain to us that those would have to be off of a cellular service. So we'd have to contract possibly with like, T-Mobile. They do a lot of that, and that would be a separate system I think we would have to look at later. We can still put all the main frames, the server in the same place, which we are going to move it from where it's at in the station now to a more secure room. But they explained that that would have to be a cellular service since there's no direct line to those entrances. They, one off of 305 at the admin building right there as you come in, will be covered by the north camera. We'll shoot through that whole way, past all of Sean's bays, past the front of the zoning office.
Now, is that, Larry, does that go to, through the cloud, or are you gonna have
That includes a memory drive.
what is that, terabytes or?
Well, on this one, I believe they were also pricing it as a 8 terabytes hard disk. And that would allow us approximately, and again, it's only their estimation depending on how much movement we have, but their estimation is 30 days. So every 30 days of an overwrite. That should allow us more than sufficient time. If there's an incident where we have to go back and look at, we should be able to go back
So
and look.
our expiration date would be 30 days?
Approximately. Again, depends on how much there's more movement, it says it uses more data. But
So it's activated by movement?
it'll be
It's not a
full constant
24
thing, but as there's more people in it, it uses more of that data.
You guys wanna send this out for a bid?
What's that?
Once we finalize what we're gonna get here, send it out for a bid?
That's what we got,
I
right?
think these are the big.
Four, three or four?
So the DVR, the NVR would be in the police station and the monitors.
It'll be, the monitor will be outside, the DVR will be next to the Township PD server inside the records room vault. That is part of Joel's task that he's going to perform this week, is we're moving the server from the old clerk's office, where I believe it could be a fire, I don't wanna say a fire hazard, but it could get damaged in there, so we're moving that into the permanent records room.
Now, would that be in, is it possible that, later on down the road, if you went to, body cameras, that you could correlate both of them through the same server, or would you?
My initial investigation on the body cameras, everybody I've talked to said it's exponentially gonna make that, we're gonna need a huge database, not only because of public records laws, but for investigative purposes. I don't even think that would help us there, no. I think we'd probably need 10 times that size for a body camera with the amount of data that.
Yeah, 'cause I think what they were talking about, Larry, was, having the storage to the cloud.
The problem, and again, I'm not an IT expert, Mr. Templeton, the only thing I can tell you is that what they're saying is anytime you deal with the cloud, there is risk. There's risk of people breaking into your cloud, getting the passwords and getting in there. I would have to ask.
Slow down, public records is gonna have to be on site.
Well, that's what Jeff was going for, was to store it on the cloud, and I think other departments were using the cloud to, store their data, because they have a much, larger capacity to, for storage. Instead of having a 30-day expiration on the database, you would have, continuous. If you need to go back a year later to investigate something, you'd be able to retrieve that.
So these cameras. And both those cruisers, if we moved on those. That would all come from ARP money?
We have to allocate it.
We would need that second resolution tonight.
Correct.
What do you think?
Courtney, do you happen to know if we take it out of these proposed items out of the police fund, that we can, once we get the ARP money, clear to spend, can we replenish the police fund with that?
You could designate a particular dollar amount of the ARP money as revenue lost for police, for the police, period, and then that would replenish it, or, you could pass a motion at a later date to reallocate the funding from those warrants that are written. So, yeah.
So the answer is yes.
What's that?
So the answer is yes.
Hard way to get somewhere there. Larry, on those cruisers, would you paint those, wrap those, would they match our other cars, what's the thought?
So I stopped down at the Champion Vehicle Wraps to kind of get a quote today on that and some other things. They're not able to give me an exact price yet, but I did mention, would it be cheaper to just wrap those later, and they said they would get back to me. To me, I think you would just wrap them. With the way that technology is nowadays, let's just wrap it and be done with it. And they can match, they are the original ones that I believe did our decals for those cars,
Correct.
for Chief White. So they already have those graphics, plus our badges, our patches, all of that. So,
He can give you any kind of estimate on what he thought.
I spoke, and I don't have her card, it was the young lady at the front. She said she would get back to me hopefully by Wednesday. And I'm like, okay. I would imagine, that in and itself would save money because of painting a car, thousands of dollars anymore to paint a car, that's gonna last.
Well, I think you're gonna be surprised. The wrap's gonna cost more than paint. So, at least that's always been my experience. Paint a truck for $4,000, $7,000 to wrap it. But when you wrap it, you know, the graphics are printed, so you're saving the $1,200 on the graphics on that side of it. Probably, maybe comparable at that point, I don't know. There's another place over on North River Road called Tiger Wraps. I had a conversation with that gentleman also, see his thoughts. You got anything?
Larry, welcome to Champion, at 170,000 miles.
That's not even broken.
They're brand new.
Gently used,
We're with OSP no more.
gently used.
That's not broken yet.
Yeah. I don't know, might suggest, like Hertz or Enterprise, they get rid of their cars, we may be able to find one that's white at a better price. I mean, this one that you're looking at, I don't think, all but one, I think you mentioned, had a police package or even wiring in it.
The Tahoe does not have the wiring in it.
Correct.
I looked at Enterprise.
I don't know.
Yeah, I looked at Enterprise after we talked to Mr. Miller.
Yeah, they were around $10,000 he was getting for.
They had no PPVs whatsoever, or no SSVs either, so everything they had is normal civilian vehicles. You
I
know,
called
probably-
9 dealerships looking for ones like that. The last one was Tim Lally. They had one listed on the website. I got excited. I thought, man, I hit the jackpot. It was only listed for like 40-some thousand, 46,000. They laughed when I called. They said they've left it on there for a year just to see how many phone calls they get. Now I got a stack of mail this big from all the salesmen at Tim Lally today. So, there, I mean, everybody's in the same boat. I hate to say it. The 2023s are not, you know, nobody can give us an answer when any cars are coming in 2023.
Somebody just told me the other day, Chrysler closed the order bank. You're
Then I
right.
heard they opened it back up for Durangos, and I heard they closed it, so I really don't know.
Just talked to my guy the other day, said the banks are closed across the board. I don't know,
Everyone that I talked to said that they were closed.
can't buy nothing. We got art money, can't buy anything.
I can tell you, I've spent at least 10 hours in the last 2 weeks just looking at cars, so I don't wanna look at another car for a while, but these cars were the 3 that stood out to me the best, amongst. Even talking to Tom here, we talked, but can't find anything.
Through that conversation didn't go over very well.
I bribed him with a donut. He's eating.
Time to waste.
I mean, it's been sitting there for quite some time, Tommy's wanted it. I'll wait till,
Put the donut was sitting there.
what? You say down there?
Where?
Till the second meeting? Till the second meeting, maybe we might be able to find a white one, that we don't have to wrap, that's a lot of expense on top of 40,000 to get it wrapped.
Well,
A Durango, although you're gonna pay to wrap it, you're not gonna pay to equip it. 7,000 to equip one. That Durango's ready to rip,
it has more lights on it than I think every one of our cars combined.
we can't have something like that.
It had lights on the running boards, it had lights in the grill, it had lights, siren, they had a video of it running. It sounded good, there was no major repairs that was noted in their background. I attempted to run a separate Carfax, I always like to check it. Unfortunately, my Carfax account is down until whenever.
black too, the Durango,
The Durango's blue,
all blue.
the Explorer is black.
We don't do the,
So the Durango with the wrap, we could probably guesstimate 38,000 with the wrap.
let's say $4,000 in the wrap, 4,500.
Yeah, again, I'm just asking, I don't have any experience with it.
Jump on
But I didn't wanna put the cart before the horse until we got the cars.
Don't have many miles.
No, it doesn't.
And it also says in the spiel, by the way, the guy looking after the money. If you wanna make an offer or talk about the price.
And that's why I got 0. And I believe his name was Saeed. He was, he spoke very good English when he told me 0.
Courtney, so if we make a motion today to go with this vehicle, it can be taken out of police funds, and then next Tuesday's meeting, we can pass the appropriate resolutions for the ARP monies to,
We have that resolution here, we can do that tonight too.
but there's a second one, just, you got that too?
Can I give this back to you?
Yeah, you said you want to give it. This one, you just fill in the front one, right there. Just 2012 Dodge Durango, 190 miles, whatever the VIN number is. Yep.
We gotta read the whole thing, or just this?
They prefer you read the whole thing.
So every time that you use ARP money, you gotta use resolution.
Mhm.
Right, here's us for resolution. Holy cow. Here you put in 2017 Dodge Durango, probably got the VIN number somewhere there. But you have to do this every time.
We have adequate cars to run the department right now.
I'm sorry?
We have adequate cars to run the department now because we do have a levy coming on in, November.
The only issue I would have with saying that is, then you're gonna put cars on the road for more than one shift, possibly 3 shifts. And that would, I think then that's gonna cause its own problems. I mean, these cars aren't meant to be driven 24 hours a day like that. It's not like they're on the highway, these are stop and go, you know. That's why I'm trying to be cognizant of the request with the Durango, because I think in the end, it saves us money with equipping it.
Yeah, and I agree with Bill, but we're not taking this from police money. This is our money. Shows their need even worse than. It's up to you guys, whatever you wanna do, buy one, buy both.
The Explorer also has less miles than half of our fleet, that's the only reason why, like I said, that was the nicest one I could find.
Have you, talked to people, Mark Thomas Ford?
Yes, sir, we have, and they are not taking any other vehicle requests until 2023. They did give us a price, essentially, of $44,000 for a new one, but roughly, they're 43,000 and some change, but they're not taking them until 2023.
Did they happen to, run a dealer search for you?
I did not run a full dealer search, no.
The only Explorers that I knew of, new ones that were in the country were in Florida, I think those are gone.
They are gone from Bartow, I think it was Barstow or something like that, Florida.
800 of them.
They actually said that, they got 300 of them and 299 went within like a week. Something crazy.
think Warren Township got one or two down there.
Lordstown got them,
Lordstown,
Petey told me about it. They laughed when I called down there, told me I was $1 late, $1 short.
I think this will be gone in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, it'll be gone.
Might be gone when it closes tomorrow.
Could be gone tomorrow, you don't know that. I mean, go through this and the car's gone.
Did you pass this to me for me to read?
Am I reading it?
I can read it, it's all right.
If you believe that you're gonna do other ARP things later in the meeting, you just pass a regular resolution to purchase the item, and then later list it out and not at the end of the meeting. If you'd like to do that, that would make it a little easier perhaps.
Alright. Do you want the Durango?
We haven't found anything better. I mean, it only has 34,000 miles. It still has.
I thought you were gonna eat that thing for a second.
Still has 25,000 miles.
Alright, so,
Will the light bar off of the,
This has one.
well, this comes with a light bar, the Durango?
yeah, it's,
They're all subdued lights right now, there's no light bar fixed to it.
We do need a light bar.
It will need a light bar, unfortunately, I believe Mr. Cross died, he was my go-to on these to see if that would fit. Hopefully, the same width generally as the Explorer. And we do have one light bar left that we moved to storage.
What about the Crown Vic?
Then I would have to measure that, something beyond my expertise. But if it can fit, we'll make it work.
Tommy, is that a Wayland that's on there?
We have a wait, in storage, yes.
the Durango?
The one that's on the, excuse me, help me out here. One car that you're looking at disposing of.
The Crown Vic?
thing.
I believe that is an older Wayland, yes.
That's a Wayland.
Yes.
Tommy, is the Wayland what you have,
Yeah, it's a justice.
is that adjustable to different models?
Just depends on the width of the hood. Or not the hood, but
The roof.
See, that's probably 54 or 60 inches.
It's gotta be pretty close.
Yeah, actually, I think it's more like 48. I think the 54 is a tanker. I can't remember if there was feet or just one in or not.
Okay. So what is the motion on the Durango?
It is,
And where's this located?
Yeah, it's out of Chicago.
Outside of Chicago?
Melrose Park, Illinois.
And the delivery fee will be what?
He didn't give me the exact quote, but I remember we talked specifically, cause he said he would have to look up the mileage itself. It was near $1,000.
I don't think so.
Is that paid driven or, hauled here?
It was driven.
Driven.
All right.
Is there a delivery fee on this? Or is that,
$1,000.
$1,000 a car.
and that's in the 31,795, or that's,
That was just the vehicles.
so it's 32,000, so.
Yeah, unless we send somebody to get.
Have we gone to bid? Because that's gonna have to be included in the price, not to exceed.
We able to do that? Can we get it?
You're gonna need either send one driver, rent a car to Sunbrook and drive that back. Or you're gonna have to take two guys, one to drive out, two to come back.
Cheaper, just.
Or you pay $1,000 and have it shipped. If it was me, I'd pay $1,000. You go to Chicago, you wanna go to Chicago, you get in this thing, make it 100 miles out of Chicago, something goes wrong.
That could always call the tow company.
Huh? I don't know anybody do that.
Okay, we need a motion to purchase.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, not to exceed 34,000.
Make a motion to purchase a 2017 Dodge Durango SSV all-wheel drive with sirens, lights, prisoner partition, Bluetooth camera, backup camera.
Wait.
Come on, Cal.
Larry, just one last question, did you do a Carfax on this thing?
That's what I was saying, my Carfax is down. I can't get signed in yet, so I'm waiting. I called my Carfax for police to authenticate that, and I couldn't do it today.
Does the SSV qualify for police?
Special service,
Yeah, I believe it does.
so like Tahoes are special service like fire would use.
Right.
And then there's PPV, which is police
Police.
pursuit vehicle, the police use. This is an SSV. So does it, if I put an officer in an SSV, and he wipes it out, he shouldn't have been in an SSV, it wouldn't have happened if he's in a PPV.
Again, that is above my, I won't say pay grade, but I can't figure, I mean, I've never heard of that, so.
The SSVs sit higher than the PPVs. So the rollover rate
But
is
it-
higher.
And it's also all-wheel drive too,